Hey guys, this is Robert Jackson. Thank you for watching. Okay, but yeah, I wanted to have like a new epic intro, but that didn't work out. But yeah, thank you for tuning into the podcast, and hope everybody's staying safe and especially cool because we are still in a heat wave. And yeah, just lucky us, California air, humidity, and whatnot. But at least we're doing our best to stay cool. And speaking of cool, let me introduce this special guest in the corner. We have Mr. Isaac Robinson Smith. How's it going?
It's good. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. Would you like to share pretty much what it is that you mainly do, just your bio, what work that you've been doing, and
Yeah.
yeah, just an overall, just yeah, little icebreaker type of thing, so we can get
Yeah.
to know you a little more.
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Isaac, as you said, and thank you for the introduction. I am now mainly full-time voice actor, which I've been working toward for pretty much the last decade or so. I started out in theater, did a lot of plays in high school, college, and got my degree in theater at UC Irvine. And then about senior year of high school, I realized that voiceover was an actual job, and I was like, "Whoa, this is awesome!" I didn't know that I could do this for a living, and so I seriously started to study it, get some classes, meet some people, do some auditions, and then my first break came out. Well, I'll back up. I used to work at Disneyland for 11 years, on and off for 11 years. And when I first started there, I took a voiceover class that they offered, and it was with the casting director of Imagineering, Brian. And he gave me my first job in 2012 after a couple of years of becoming his friend and trying to get into the Imagineering, the world of Disney Imagineering and their voiceover stuff. He offered me a work doing uh, like kind of an interactive game for Epcot called Agent P's World Showcase Adventure, and that was my very first professional voiceover job back in 2012. And since then, I've been working, and now I live in LA, and I do television shows, video games, commercials, voice matching, dubbing, uh, ADR, looping, lots of stuff. I do kind of the spectrum of voiceover work, and I teach as well now. I'm teaching a few classes recently, so yeah, that's the short version of me. But yeah,
Mm. And what kind of got you interested in wanting to pursue acting?
I've been an actor since I was basically a kid. Like I don't really remember a time when I wasn't performing. I was introduced to theater when I was really, really young, and my whole family, or a lot of my family, are into theater. And did it at some point, and I really just loved the idea of bringing a sense of escape to people. And I experienced that when I had this theater class when I was little, and I watched this guy do a magic trick. His name was James, and uh, first of all, he was a black actor, so it was cool to see somebody doing something on stage that was cool, and he also looked like me. That was the first thing. Second thing was um, I had never seen magic tricks in my life, but when he did this one magic trick, which is simple, is just a box that had nothing in it. Then he pulled a handkerchief out, but it was still empty. It was like an amazing effect. Um, I was astounded by what I was seeing, and I remember that feeling of like, wow, this was such a cool thing, and I want to give that feeling to other people. So that was sort of the genesis of my wanting to perform for others, I think. But being on stage and performing in general, and being an actor, I think was kind of with me from the beginning. I just didn't really know what it was at the beginning, but eventually I found out, and I was down to do it, and I never looked back.
Nice. So for theater work, what were some of your favorite productions that you did when
I
you were on
think
the stage?
I yeah, I did several. I did Macbeth in high school. I did Evita, it was a musical. Anything Goes. Uh, let's see. But I think my favorite. So that was high school. But my favorite one in high school, and still one of my favorites to this day, is Little Shop of Horrors. I was Audrey 2 in that show, and it's great because it combined voiceover and singing and stage work. So it was like everything in one role. So that was awesome. Then college, I did what shows did I do? I did In the Red and Brown Water, which is like a physical theater piece. It's a blur now. I did a lot of musical theater pieces because I was doing musical theater a lot. Um, and then, but I didn't really do a ton of shows only because I started working at Disneyland my second year. So, but at Disneyland, that's where Disneyland Universal Studios is where a lot of my theater where a lot of my onstage experience also came. At Disneyland, I performed with the Dapper Dans at Disneyland. I was in Fantasy Fair show. I worked over in Galaxy's Edge. I was Simba and Tale of the Lion King in 2019 when that show was happening during the summer. Did a lot of special events. And then at Universal, I was a tour guide on the tram. I was a monster in the House of Horrors. I did the Halloween Horror Nights for 5 years. I worked a train conductor at Wizarding World of Harry Potter. I'm the host of the special effects show. Um, did voiceover work with Donkey and with the Transformers, and yeah, so just a lot of stuff. So mainly the bulk of my stage experience came from theme park work, which is awesome because it's like every day I got to do something that matched with what I wanted to do, which is acting. So yeah, that's where the theater stuff has been. And I still do things. I still work with the Troubadour Theater Company doing their shows here in LA, Toil and Trouble Burlesque Company, um, and then various other things. I did Tick Tick Boom. I was Jonathan in Tick Tick Boom recently for a production at the end of last year. Yeah, things will come to me. So if I interrupt with other stuff, but that's what I can remember right now.
I
Yeah.
get that you're also an aficionado when it comes to theme parks and whatnot.
I will say that, yes, yeah, especially Disneyland Park because that's the park I grew up going to. Yeah, but I love Disney in general and the company and the history of the parks is something I really really enjoy a lot.
Oh yeah, same here. I'm somebody who also really likes to go on Wikipedia and just do a lot of research on like roller coasters and
Yeah,
yeah, and the shows and the the characters and the rides
right.
especially because I'm trying to recall like the last time I've actually been to Disneyland was back in 2018. I know that it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely changed now
Oh yeah,
because they got the trams again because the last time I went they didn't even have like but before that I think the last time was like over a decade or so ago before like
wow.
I think the last time I went like I said might have been 17 or 18 but
Okay.
yeah before that it was like 10 years since I've actually been
Wow. Yeah, yeah.
yeah
There's
to
some new stuff.
Disney.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I should definitely check it out this summer, actually.
yeah. You should. Yeah, yeah. Go see Avengers Campus and
Oh,
the
okay. Yeah.
entertainment and all that. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Do. So yeah, you've pretty much got like I'm just literally looking at your website right now, and you've
Oh,
done
okay.
a lot of work. um yeah, so yeah, it's just pretty good stuff, my guy. So
Thanks.
I guess with all of this that you have in mind, like doing all of this work and
Yeah,
juggling, all of with so many of these clients and I guess a lot of people would want to hear it's so I mean they usually a lot of people ask how they break into the industry, but
right.
I'm not sure if many ask like okay, so how do you develop good maintaining working business relationships with clients and
Yeah.
companies that you're working with, which I know they go over in the like when you take the voiceover business classes,
Hmm.
because people are usually more concerned. They focus more on, oh my gosh, how do I get started? Oh my gosh, how do I
Right.
come up with all these like 10, 20 different voices? But
Yeah.
not too many focus on the business of
Yes.
this industry. I mean, it's not their fault. I
No.
mean, a lot of us when we first start out, we're like, oh my gosh, wow, I want to be like this person who can do so many different voices. And
Right.
then when you really get to the nitty-gritty, it's like, oh, yeah, this is a business and gotta learn business etiquettes and whatnot. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we might as well just hanker away and do the boring stuff and
No,
still maintain the fun
yeah.
of being a professional. So
Right.
yeah, what's your advice
Well, first of all,
for
that very excellent and very smart to ask that question because you're right. That's not something people really take the time to know right at the
yeah.
beginning. Um, I would say something you kind of reminded me of is yeah, a lot of people want to come in and think, well, first of all, you don't have to. This is something that I learned early, and this is something I wasn't aware of either when I first began because I started off, doing a lot of impressions and voices and things, and I thought that that would get me work. And I realized very fast that, and I love telling people this, and especially my students, that you don't have to do a lot of voices to do voiceover. There's a lot of people in this business that don't do any voice but their own, and they have full, long, really sustained careers in voiceover. And all you need to be is first part of the business is being a good actor. You know, if you don't have good acting skills, you're not going to get any work because the soul of the business is acting. That's why it's called voice acting. You have to make sure to maintain character for a lengthened period of time, with all of the strength and tenacity and complexity that you would in any other medium of acting, on camera or stage or whatever. Um, so just having good acting basis, knowing that your voice has worth and it has a place in the landscape of voiceover, in the universe of voiceover. But I think when you're in it, the biggest thing is to, one, be kind to people. This is something that I have gotten a lot of mileage out of, because one, it's just feels better to be kind to people and just be nice. But also, you never know who is connected to who really. I mean, you can have an idea. You can go on IMDb, or you can talk to other people and be like, they're associated with this company, or they work for this production house, or they do this voice and they know this actor, or they know this director, which, you know, can get you so far. But in the end, they may get a new job tomorrow. They may be the head of something. They might have a developing project that will come out a decade from now, that because you were nice to them at the first stage, they'll remember you for, you know? So I think being kind is a big one. Second one is having a good relationship with the people that are helping you out. So your agent or your fellow actors that you're close with, or the people that are working with you already, you know, just maintaining that relationship in a nice way. And showing up and doing the work, you know, showing up and being good and being workable, flexible, being um, observant of what they're asking you, and that can also yield a lot of results for a career. I think, like for example, when I did the Final Fantasy VII remake, I did several voices on that. That company, yeah, I think the company that I worked for has used me now, I think 2 or 3 more times, because they remembered that I did a good job, one, but also that I, you know, was trustworthy. I think that's a big one, is becoming trustworthy, because once you have a reputation in the business, that's what people kind of go off of. Voiceover, especially, is a business where if people know what you're about and know who you are, and that's a good, and you're a good person and a good spirit and a good light, then you'll have work for the rest of your career, because people will remember that and they'll happily talk about what you can do. And what's so cool is there's a lot of people in this business that will say, if they get an audition, for example, or they have an opportunity to voice something in a project, more often than you'd think, they'll be like, you know what, I really can't do that very well, but I know somebody that can, and I'm going to give you their information. That happened to me when I was doing What If, when I was recording episodes for that. And it just happened to me on another project that my friend was casting. An audition came through my agent, but I know the person that's casting this and working on it. And I was like, you know what? I would love to see if we can pass this on to the person that is closest to this voice. So yeah, so being kind, having a good relationship, and also never stop learning. I think that's another huge piece of the business side of it, is not to stop your education, because you don't know who you'll meet in those classes. You don't know what you'll gain that you didn't know before. I still take voiceover classes 10 years in. I'm still doing it, you know, because I learned so much. Um, I think also it pays to have a good demo, invest in yourself, spend the money to be with good people, spend the money to have a good demo, spend the money to have a quality website or things that market you, because it's only up to you to market yourself. People aren't going to do it for you. So kind of all of that comes with time, though. You know, it comes with time and practice and getting your foot in the door and working with people and talking to them. But overall, it's, you know, on the business side of it, just keep up the work that you're doing, educate yourself, be kind to people, create good relationships that stay good, and then market yourself in ways that are true to you. You don't have to be, you know, fake about it. Just be you out there, and people will want to work with you. So I think those are the main points that I can think of business wise. Which, yes, maybe not as exciting as like the characters you see on the screen, but um, man, it's important if you want to keep doing this. So yeah.
Yeah. Authenticity and just being yourself. You
Yes.
just got to be the best you can possibly be. And
100%.
that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it sounds really cheesy, but just be you.
Yeah.
It can really go a long way, trust
Yeah.
me.
Oh yeah. And you'd be surprised how hard it is to just be you sometimes. I've run into that. I get it.
I
So
mean, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yep. Oh, of course.
yeah.
So let's see. I know you've played a lot of characters. You've done commercial, you do animation, you've done pretty much I mean, it's pretty much is something else that's also super important. Where like pursuing a career into this, you just don't want to specifically focus on this one area. Like, I know they say don't put too many eggs into one basket, but I kind of want to say try something if I mean, it doesn't just specifically apply for VO, but like if
Yeah.
there's anything that you want to do in life, at least give it a try. And then if you like it, if it's something that really fulfills you and it fills your heart with happiness and it gives you joy, just continue pursuing it. And if it doesn't work out, then hey, one of the biggest regrets in life, it's saying, okay, I want to do something, I want to try this, but you don't do it.
Right.
So I'd rather you give it a try than just never doing it at all.
Right.
It's just something that a lot of us really do because in the industry, there's many different fields and areas of VO that you want to consider taking a shot. So like, and it happens constantly too, where you might be like, yeah, I'm totally gonna love doing like character work, but then it turns out that commercial or promo or duration is kind of your bread and butter.
Right.
And a lot of people really make bank doing commercial, trust
Oh
me.
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, yep. So it's like, yeah, just try anything. Like, and even try something that you might not feel like it's your strong suit, but at the end of the day, it's just like, wow, okay, I'm actually booking a lot of work. It's something I didn't really think that I was gonna really be successful in, but here I am.
Yeah.
And trust me,
Yeah.
you have no idea how often this happens. It has happened to me. It's happened to a couple of colleagues that I've interviewed before on this podcast, and you just have no idea. Like some of even went on to being casting directors, which was something that never even entered their like mind. It was not something that just was like the end all be all goal for them, but it
Right.
turns out they're pretty good at it. So
Yeah.
you never
You never
know.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just following what feels right and following what's presented to you and not being afraid of it. Yes. I completely agree.
Yeah. So something fun that I like to do is ask, like, was there any piece of media, like just something that you watched or read as a kid or played, just anything that really inspired you, not just specifically in VO, but just you as a human, just as a person, like any of your
Wow.
favorite stuff that you media that you grew up with that really left a big impact on your life that you have a soft spot for.
Okay. I have a
What stuff
couple.
that you love?
Yeah. I have a couple things.
I
One,
still do.
um, yeah.
Yeah.
One is film scores. Very inspiring to me. I love music from films. So like Danny Elfman, personally my favorite composer.
Oh
I love
yeah.
John Williams. Um,
You
you
got good
know,
taste, my brother.
yeah, thank you.
Got good taste, man.
Yeah,
Great.
and so like film scores. I actually have a vinyl of Edward Scissorhands, which is my favorite movie score, and he signed it,
Oh
which is
my
killer.
gosh.
Yeah. And I love discovering more of it, like the other people that are big, like Hans Zimmer and James Horner and all that. And a recent favorite, Michael Abels, who is
Oh.
the guy who scores all of Jordan Peele's movies. So, um,
Ah, okay.
yeah. So I love him. So movie scores, huge part of my life. Music in general, music has always been a big inspiration for me for a lot of reasons. And then specific media stuff. Back to the Future is my favorite movie of all time. No pun intended. I was so I saw it when I was like 12, I think, for the first time, and I was so swept up in the story of it, the comedy of it, the joy that I felt listening to that film score, the adventure, the sci-fi elements, the special effect, like everything about it was like this is this is the experience that I want to I want to be part of something like this, and I want to share this sort of joy with other people. So that movie specifically just really rocked my world when I saw it. Um, and then something else VO specific that inspired me. The Simpsons is one of my favorite animated shows of all time, and especially the early seasons.
Yep.
And the there's an I've talked about this before with some other people, but there's a interview show that used to be on TV called Inside the Actors Studio, and he interviewed James Lipton is the host of that, and he interviewed the Simpsons cast, and I just
I
happened to
think I
watch.
remembered that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen the video too.
yes,
It's not
it's
still
on
on
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yes, it's still
Yeah.
there. Yeah. So when I saw that, that's when I understood that voiceover was a career, and that changed everything for me. So I'd have to give that some credit. Yeah, and then numerous pieces of musical theater growing up, and even now.
Of course.
I'd say probably topped by I don't know. Hadestown is a big one for me right now. Hamilton's a big has been a big one. Um, Company's a big one. I love Stephen Sondheim. Yeah. So I mean, I could go on and on about specific things that I like, but those are some of the highlights in my personal life that I love. You can even see some Back to the Future right here. This is a bag from the musical that my friend saw when she went to the
Oh,
UK.
cool.
So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, that's some of the stuff that I'm down that I love. Oh, and then Star Wars. It's just Star Wars right now.
I mean,
Star Wars and
everybody
Marvel.
loves Star
Yeah,
Wars.
yeah,
Everybody loves it.
yeah.
I guess for me, my influences are, I mean, if you can kind of take a quick
I can
little
see.
gander, yep.
Yeah,
I just really like Sonic the Hedgehog.
yeah. It's great. I love Sonic. Yeah.
Yeah, and I got like autographs from like celebrities that I met at when I used to do like conventions because I would
Oh,
attend
dope.
like yeah, because I used to go because well, mostly I just wanted to have fun and also I mean conventions can actually be a good way to I guess network and connect with people that you want to
Oh,
work
yeah.
with in the industry. I mean not just specifically actors or voiceover artists, but like artists, animators, and writers that also
Yeah.
that go to these events. It's just a great way to just introduce yourself and just be you and just
Yeah.
just and also if you're meeting up with like, I don't know, I guess cosplayers, I guess maybe just meet up with friends just to geek out about what stuff that you're into. So it's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Dude,
But yeah, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say I was gonna agree and say I went to San Diego Comic Con for the first time, if you can believe it, this year.
Oh man,
So
you're so lucky.
and it
Yeah,
was yeah, everything of what you're saying, it's exactly what that is. Everything. I just met so many
man.
different kinds of people. Yeah.
Yeah, like the funny thing is, I actually just went to San Diego for vacation for the 4th of July, and I was seeing San Diego Comic Con like posters all around like
Yeah.
downtown San Diego. Like I was seeing billboards and flyers everywhere on the streets when we
Right.
went. And yeah, I was like, oh man, if I went just a couple weeks later, but then the tickets are always expensive, and I just
Yeah.
could never, it's just really hard to get in. But like, I was just talking with my family, like, if we were here like a couple weeks later, we would have been seeing like crowds of people on the streets
Seriously.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for real. Like this is pretty much where like this is one of the biggest ones, I feel like, if not just in the entire world, but mostly just in the United States, like one of the
Yeah.
biggest well-known cons that are
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, it's been around
here.
forever. Yeah. Everybody comes to
LA.
Comic Con.
Yeah, California. Oh yeah, everybody around the world. So it's like, yeah, you one of these days I will eventually go to Comic Con for the
You
first
will.
time.
Yeah.
I mean, thank you. I've been to LA Comic Con though. That was a lot of
That was
fun.
fun. LA Comic Con
Yeah.
is really fun. I like that a lot. I went when it was Kamikaze back in 2013 or whatever.
Wow. Yeah. I
Yeah.
went when they changed it to Comic Con and I
Nice.
went, I think it was sometime after Stan Lee passed. I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah. It was kind of like that little transition of like
Yeah.
just now it's just LA Comic Con without, the master himself, which
Right.
godsend. I guess for one influence, yeah, I guess
Oh,
we gotta
totally.
mention him.
That's one that I forgot. But yeah, Marvel is one of the biggest pieces of my personal life and my profession. I do a lot for Marvel, and I love
You
them. I mean,
see,
Spider-Man has
yeah.
influenced so much of. It
Oh
meant
yeah.
he was like a huge piece of my development when I was a teenager. Like so
Yeah.
much so, Spider-Man, Stanley, and I met Stanley twice while he was alive. I was
Lucky.
lucky too. Yeah, but um,
Yeah,
yeah, but
I did.
yes. So I got. You're right. You gotta give a shout out to what he did and what Marvel is doing, and has
Yeah.
done. So, yeah,
I guess George Lucas, I guess for Star
yeah. No, yeah.
Wars.
Of course. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's like a lot of different influences I have. I have like plushies, toys, and I'm just like a big old kid at heart. Actually, I have like Let me see if you can. Yeah, so like over there is like a Tails figurine that I won at a fan convention called Sonic
Cool.
Revolution. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm pretty much am just a big kid at heart. And actually, I have a Capsule Corp shirt from like Dragon Ball. So
That's
like
awesome. I mean,
yeah.
you see my recording studio. This is, I mean, I'm all about that kind of stuff.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I should probably revamp mine to look like yours. But yeah, I guess another thing to really talk about, it's how when it comes to branding and marketing, like when it comes to branding yourself on
Mhm.
like social media to clients, like being
Yeah.
authentically you, this is pretty much what we're doing here. What you have, like, toys and whatnot. And I guess, how you want to design your brand and just
Yeah.
if you like Star Wars or Marvel and stuff like that, maybe you can brand it.
Yeah.
You like with your website, make it look like you're into that stuff. That's pretty
Right.
much good to let people know, hey, this is what I'm about. And yeah, I like this stuff. And yeah, this is me.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, that's sort of what I've
That's super
done.
important.
Yeah, honestly, when I've marketed, I'm not an expert by any means in like really
Me
marketing
neither.
or anything. I just,
Yeah.
what I do is I just try to exude an air of positivity and authenticity, like you were saying. And I never really like had an idea of what I wanted to make my quote brand, but it just sort of was born out of me just saying, "Hey, I'm this is this is what I do. This is who I am. These are the things I've worked on." I think one thing I am going to do is create a probably a personal, maybe a personal Instagram at some point, because I just have one, and it's pretty much all my professional work. But I do want to have a place where it's going to be, this is what I've did on vacation, or this is, where I went the other day, or things like that. So, but yeah, as far as branding, my opinion is, yeah, if you are yourself, that's the best version of it, because trying to be like everybody else just gets exhausting after a while, I
Mhm.
think. So,
Yeah. And I know that with branding and whatnot, because I know a lot of people want to get into anime. And I
yeah,
know
yeah.
there's all the big talk. I know anime is the lowest paid. I heard it like a million times and I
Right.
get it. But for me personally, one of my main goals, it's because I love to work in animation and I
Yeah.
definitely would love to work in video games. So one of my biggest influences is when it comes to companies in particular, like I know you've done work for Disney
Yeah.
and other video game companies. Mine's since I love Sonic, of course, Sega or Nintendo,
Sega. Oh,
that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
and Sony, yeah,
Yeah.
with those companies. And as far as anime goes, it would be nice. I mean, as you can see, I have like a Sailor Venus poster right
Yeah,
behind
that's
me.
great. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I did meet the voice actress, Cherami Lee.
Oh,
Yeah, I
cool.
know. Yeah, I met a couple of voice actors over the time
Yeah.
that I've been to con. So it is really nice to maintain, the connections that you have with them. Especially if you're like, um, because it is fun to, get to geek out about the stuff that you're into with them. And it's also
Right.
important to, um, uh not I mean, I don't want to use the term like fanboy or whatever, but it's kind of like
I know what
definitely
you're
want
saying.
to yeah, definitely want to keep, hey, I am, this guy that does this work and I do voiceover, I'm professional, but you could just still have fun. But
Yeah.
just don't make just make sure that you're not like all like okay, work, 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 work,
Right.
24/7,
Yeah.
like a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to, okay.
Wear you out.
Yeah. So I thought you were gonna say something about like
Oh no,
when
I
it
was just
comes to
saying, yeah, it'll wear you out if you do that though.
exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess this was not really a question that I had in mind, but any
Okay.
tips for preventing burnout or like,
Great question. No,
exhaustion? Yeah.
that's really good. I think you sort of pointed to it. It is the ability to enjoy the in-between moments, which is something that I have to remind myself of constantly, because I am definitely a workaholic. I can be, because I love to work, I love to do things around work, I love to be on, a schedule and get things done, but I am in a place now and I'm sort of settling into it. It's taken almost a year to finally just start to understand that I can live how I want to live now, because my goal was to be a voice actor and that's what I'm doing. and that's what I wanted to do full time, and that's what I'm doing. And I always said to myself, I'm like, when I'm doing it the way that I want, then I'm going to start living how I want. So finding opportunities to do stuff for yourself, like I'm planning a solo trip to New York in the next month, and so things like that. Or my favorite place to go when I'm not working is I go to the Grove and I go read at Barnes and Noble for a couple hours, or I go get some food,
Mhm.
or go to the movies. Just things that break out of your circle of work. Not that work can't be great and work can't be fun, because it is. It's truly, I'm lucky to say that I love what I do for my job. Because there's some people that can't say that, but I will say that getting away and doing things that are fulfilling and soul enriching, whatever it is. And I found those things for me, and I'm continuing to find new ones. But things like that, that you can intentionally take time to do that, I think that prevents burnout, because it brings you back to this world with a fresh brain and a fresh heart. And yeah, so I think just taking the time to remember what you like and do things that you like, and keep that in part as part of your life.
Of course. So I know this is a question that you hear a lot, but out of all the
Yeah.
projects that you've done, what are some of your favorites?
I
Just
gotta
get that out
s-
of the way.
no, I mean, it's not getting out of the way. I love that question. I would
Yeah.
say big highlights for me.
Yeah, the highlights of your career, rather. Yeah.
Yeah, so far, I think Adam in Voltron is a big one, because that was my first animated character ever. And that was a really interesting experience, because I hadn't had anything like that that had such wonderful recognition and love from fans of Voltron, and fans of Adam. So that was really amazing. Um, Probably the next one that floats to the top almost immediately is, and I'm wearing a shirt right now. I'm the voice
Nice.
of the official voice for Black Panther for Disneyland, for Disney California Adventure, and for Disneyland Paris's Avengers Campus. So when you see Black Panther out there in the shows or just walking around, I got I have the privilege of being the sound alike for Chadwick Boseman's version of the character. So yeah,
Yeah, rest your
uh,
soul. Yeah.
seriously, yeah,
One of the greats.
yeah, seriously, one of the greats. And
Yeah.
I'm so excited and sad at the same time for Wakanda Forever. I mean, we all saw that
My
trailer.
gosh, yeah.
um,
Oh man, yeah.
yeah,
He was a
um,
huge inspiration for all of us. Both of
yes.
us in particular, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say both of us in particular. Yeah, yeah. My
Oh
brother
yeah.
and I talk about how Black Panther is still our favorite Marvel movie. I think it always will be.
Mhm.
I saw it for the first time at the El Capitan Theater on opening night. Um,
Wow, that's the thing I
and
used to do. That's where I used to
yes,
go to all the
oh,
time.
it's such a good
I
theater.
haven't in
Um,
years, man.
you go,
Yeah.
yeah, go back and check it out.
Over a decade, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
something on my to-do list.
I went not opening like fan. I don't. Oh, was it the fan event? I can't remember if it was the fan event. Anyway, I went on the first night but just being in that theater with 1,000 other black people, people of color, watching this hero, watching this character. It was more. It was a transcendent experience. So definitely having the opportunity to voice him has still been one of the greatest honors of my career. And then there are several, like Dark Chocolate Cookie and Cookie Run Kingdom has been surprisingly an amazing experience. I didn't really
That's
think it
another
would
big
be.
one.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I was like, oh, this is a cool game. Like, I loved doing the job, but I never imagined. I didn't know about the fans. I didn't know how big the game was. I didn't know. I just wasn't prepared. I was not prepared. But
Nobody,
it's such a great thing.
I
Um,
mean, like nobody was when they actually got when they booked the roles in the game
yeah,
because this is like another big game that is like really hot right now alongside Genshin and let's see
Genshin. Yep.
what's the other one that's like really big right now? There's like a lot of franchises that are like really exploding right now. So it's
Yeah.
like if I miss one, yeah, it's just there's a lot of really big franchises that are out right now.
Yeah. I know.
And it's
Yeah.
like you announce a role on Genshin Impact, all of a sudden your follower account just like
Right.
just
Yeah.
explodes.
I have a bunch of friends on Genshin, and it is exactly true. Like
It was
they're like
exact,
all
yeah.
these people
Yep. And
love
I've
Genshin
had them on
Impact.
the podcast, and then like one of them actually recently announced the role, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like so happy for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And it's like they didn't really have like a huge following, but then like after they announced that they're in Genshin, it's like, oh my God, what is going on?
yeah. Yeah.
What is
Seriously.
happening?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
You just never know.
You never do.
No.
And then there
But
are some.
continue.
Then
Yeah.
does yeah. Then there are some. I mean, there's some other great ones. Just recent, I was on the show Madagascar a Little Wild recently as a role that was fun. I was in Blazing the Monster Machines, playing some Electric Eels. I did, just various things that are recent. But there is one particular role that I just am in the process of recording right now that I can't talk about publicly yet. But the show is coming out next
All
year.
NDAs.
Yeah, I
Yep.
know. But the show is coming out next year, and it is one of the coolest, if not the coolest role I've had in my career so far. Like I am so excited for the show to come out, but it's a year away. But anyway, but yeah, it's okay. I can wait. I'm just having a great
Yes.
time working on it.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Just the pain of having to wait, and then you're in a non-disclosure agreement, and it's like, I want to talk about it, but at
Yes,
the
I
same
know.
time,
Oh,
yeah.
for real. Yeah. But anyway, that's a little bit about what's a couple of the highlights of my stuff that I've done.
Oh yeah, Fire Emblem is also another big one. That's
That is
another
another
one
big one.
that's yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Of course. I just recently started playing the what is it? The demo for the Warriors, the new game that just came out. And
Okay.
prior to prior to the game, I've only played Fire Emblem when it came out on the 3DS. I think it was Awakening, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
but
remember the
I've never
title.
finished it. Yeah, I never
Yeah.
finished it, but the demo was actually a lot of fun. For this new one that just recently came out. It's on the Switch, so I guess
Okay.
just a little plug-in
Yeah.
to get the game, and also some other ones I've been playing recently, like the SpongeBob Rehydrated,
Oh, right. Yeah.
and just some
Yeah.
nostalgia. A lot of games that are coming out that they're remaking because, like, hey, we all could use like a little nostalgia rush every now and
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, anyways, so let's talk about because we just mentioned Black Panther. So
Yeah.
and when it comes to like ethnicity and authenticity in the industry,
Mm-hmm.
like the representation when it comes to, I mean, for us in particular, because like we're both African American performers,
Right.
and I know this is also something that we're seeing more of a shift towards more Black, like not just for African American, but there's also like Asian American, neurodivergent, like LGBTQ, and there's
Right.
just a lot more authentic representation that is being, that people are, um, because this is something that we've been, that's, I don't want to say that there's like, oh boy, okay, how can I say this? I don't want to say there's like racism or anything, but it's like, hey, it's kind of like not unfair that there's like these characters that are not really being represented well. And I'm not going to say specific examples, but
I
yeah,
know what
it's
you mean,
just kind
though.
of been an issue. It's kind of been something that's been going on for a long time. I mean, like, um, because when you go back to like watching the old like movies from like the 40s and 50s, you could tell that there's like because the times have certainly changed. And when you look at shows today, like when you look at shows like the new She-Ra, what else is out now? Like Craig of the Creek, like pretty much
Yeah.
some of the modern animated shows that are out now, and like Black Panther, for instance. I mean, not to say that we never did. I mean, like I was watching a few episodes of a show that I didn't really watch that much as a kid, but I'm really digging now. Static Shock, and
One of my
that was
favorites, dude.
yeah, that
Yeah.
was actually the show I think introduced me to Phil LaMarr, one of my absolute
Oh,
favorites.
I
But
love Phil Lamar. I love
yeah,
him.
another huge favorite. I mean, if I were to say like favorite voiceover artist, I think we'd be here for like hours on end.
Right?
But
I would
yeah,
do. Yeah. Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. So it's just kind of something that's been going on, that we're just now finally starting to see like more of like a natural shift of like more like say there's this character that is like African American, played by an African American actor, and we're seeing more of like of this change and shift in the industry that is
Yeah.
like where characters are being represented well, and the audiences are really starting to take. I mean, this is also something that's like starting to get them like more not notoriety but more recognition,
Yeah. Totally.
because this is something that's like we've been wanting to see, like we've been fighting for like a couple of years now. So
Yeah.
yeah, who knows where it's going to go in the future, and who knows.
Yeah. I love it.